G'day mates, in today's video we're going to be covering the exact damage values that changed with last night's weapon update. We had the SMG nerfed, the MK7 assault rifle nerfed, and the auto shotgun buffed. But a lot of people in the community saying that it wasn't good enough. This was one of the smallest balance changes we've ever seen, and the weapons still feel exactly the same. So I'm going to cover exactly what those changes were and what my thoughts on them are. Also, we had the FNCS dates confirmed today, but unfortunately FNCS is only going for 3 weeks. We have all the qualifiers in the first week. And a lot of pros are concerned about why Fortnite's doing this, but we also have people in the scene like Boop pointing out that maybe we have another massive tournament coming at the end of this season, like we did with the Grand Royale last season, because that's why they sped it up. So let's cover all of that and jump straight into it. We got full confirmation today of what the actual changes to the weapons are according to Fortnite. Unfortunately, they didn't give us patch notes like I was hoping for. All they did was respond to their original tweet saying they decreased Stinger SMG damage, slightly decreased MK7 assault rifle damage, and increased auto shotgun reload speed. They said we'll continue to evaluate this as the season evolves and appreciate your continued feedback. But we do have the actual damage values here courtesy of HypeX, and unfortunately, it's not a lot. The MK7 damage was reduced by 1 at all rarities. So if before it did 21 damage, now it does 20, 22 is 21, etc. Which means pretty much what was before a green MK7 is now basically a blue MK7. So really not a big change at all. Just move the rarity back 1. The Stinger SMG received a slightly bigger nerf, but again, it really is very, very minimal. It is 2 damage at all rarities. So 18 becomes 16, 19 becomes 17, etc. So basically, if you have an epic Stinger SMG now, it hits as hard as the old green Stinger SMG. So a bit of a nerf, but again, a lot of people saying that this just wasn't exactly what they're looking for, or it wasn't enough. I played 5 hours of Arena today to make sure that I really tested out and I could give a good, proper opinion on this change, and it's nothing. It feels exactly the same. I'm still using the weapons the same. I'm still dying to the weapons the same. It really hasn't made any considerable change, which should make the casual players who are enjoying the spray meta happier. It wasn't a massive nerf. It didn't just completely change the meta. What a lot of pros and myself are asking for is a fire rate nerf. You have Rezon, Frey, Queasy, Amplifier, some of the best players in the world, all saying the same thing. The damage doesn't feel any different, but the biggest issue is the fire rate. And I feel like casual and competitive players can agree on this one. The fire rate is irritating. I feel like in Fortnite, at no point should you be holding your wall, even if you're on 0 ping, doesn't matter, and bullets are going through your wall, especially if it's just one player, let alone when you're getting shot by 2 players at the same time. They're going through your wall and sometimes going through your stair as well. So I think that's what's frustrating a lot of people the most. Also, the structure damage is the same, so people are still just hard spraying walls and just getting shots to go through, so it really didn't change anything. And while I'm a little bit upset by this, because obviously I'm on the side of things who wants to see, specifically for competitive, the SMG and AR nerfed a little bit, I understand that they're not going just all out and just completely nerfing it to the ground and ruining everything that the casuals are enjoying right now. I fully get that, but I still believe this would be a really good chance to change it up between competitive and casual. Maybe nerf it by like 1 more damage and fire rate, or just nerf the fire rate in competitive, leave it the same in pubs. If Epic is seeing good results, the pub players like it. I have to imagine that is the reason. I have to imagine Epic has some kind of statistics or some results showing that a good population of, good portion of the population enjoy the weapons the way they are. Otherwise, they would just nerf them, because the competitive scene is pretty unanimously against the weapons the way they are. I would say at least about an 80-20 split between competitive players on them not being too happy with the meta, and at the top end, we're talking like the top pros who are going to make grand finals and place consistently, I'd say it's about 99-1 not really enjoying the weapons the way they are. As for the auto shotgun, again, a very negligible change. The tac shotgun reload time was buffed from 8.8 to 6.2 at the lowest rarity, so it's now reloading about 2.5 seconds faster, which is a good change. That's a big amount of time to save, but the issue still being the auto shotgun just doesn't fire consistently enough. It still feels really clunky to use, and even then, the only time it does good damage is when you're point blank face to face with your opponent, and in that scenario the SMG just does more damage anyway, and using the tac shotgun quite often feels like a big liability. If I'm on the wall and I go for a peanut butter Ed and I try to hit them with my auto shotgun close, if they just SMG spray out, they're almost always doing more damage than I am. The only time that ever works is if you have the pump shotgun and you're usually like a box away, or you're playing a little bit further back, but then in that scenario the auto shotgun doesn't really do anything. So the change is almost non-existent. I guarantee if Epic didn't tell us the guns were changed, I don't think anyone literally anyone would have noticed the change. I've been playing the game a lot. I don't think I would have noticed. I was still using the guns the same way today. I was running up arena duos with Dana, a tier 1 player in OCE. We were still dropping 30 bombs. I was still using just double SMG or SMG shotgun and just maining the SMG. They're still incredibly strong. So Epic did mention at the end of that post that they are going to be continuing to evaluate this as the season evolves and appreciate your continued feedback. Maybe it'll be like the primal season where it's incremental changes and then like, you know, maybe halfway through the season, it starts to get more solid. But hey, it is what it is. I don't want to be that guy who just keeps complaining. Epic's trying to do something, but it just feels like it's going in the right direction, but just was nowhere near enough. What do you guys think? Are you happy with the changes? Do you think they need to make more changes, or do you want the weapons to stay how they are? Let me know in the comments. The other exciting piece of news we got today came courtesy of Fortnite Competitive, and it is the FNCS dates. We have the official dates of when FNCS is going to take place this season. They tweeted out, mark it down. These are the dates for Chapter 3 Season 1 FNCS competition. Qualifier 1, February 17th to 18th. Qualifier 2, February 19th to 20th. Semifinals, February 25th to 27th. Middle East starts on February 24th. And then finals, March 5th to March 6th. And Middle East starts on March 4th. You may have noticed that is a 3-week-long FNCS. Qualifier 1 and Qualifier 2 are happening back-to-back 4 days in a row on the first week. Then we're going to have semifinals take place 2 days on the weekend following. And then we're going to have grand finals the week after that taking place for 2 days. And a lot of people are really confused. Why is FNCS only taking 3 weeks in a season that is lasting 100 days? If you remember last season, FNCS felt really rushed and a lot of people weren't huge fans of it. It just didn't really build up the hype like it should have because it was condensed into only 3 weeks. But this was to make room for the Grand Royale, which ended up being super exciting and super awesome. So a lot of people were like, okay, I get it. You know, I want a longer FNCS. If there was no preseason, FNCS could have been longer, but we don't talk about that. But why are we doing that this season? We have 100 days. There is plenty of time. Why is FNCS being squished into 3 weeks? So FNCS starts and finishes in, I think, actually almost under 3 weeks. It's kind of surprising here. Also making players qualify in 4 days in a row and only having 2 sets of qualifiers. So there's going to be a lot of really good teams that get unlucky and miss out on the semifinals and therefore grand finals. We don't have the actual specifics of how it's going to work with how many players are going to make it through and how it's all going to work. But based on the timing, this looks pretty much exactly like the format we saw last season. So I imagine it's going to be pretty similar. But let me know your guys' thoughts. As someone who does viewing parties and, I love competitive, the more FNCS, the better. I understand not having it drag out for like 8 weeks, but 3 weeks just feels a little bit too short. I don't think this is going to feel like the super exciting, hyped up FNCS like we've had in the past. But we do have people in the scene like Boop pointing out that maybe it's because there is a massive tournament coming up. We haven't had the 2022 prize pool yet. We do have a 100-day season, which would leave a lot of time for a big tournament like a Winter Royale. I know we're going out of winter by that point, but we could have something different. I don't know. It could be super exciting. I'd love to see it because I have to hope there's a reason why we're speeding up FNCS so much. With Cash Cups taking place across 2 rounds, we are getting 2 days a week of super stacked, really good games to watch of set lobbies. So that makes me less upset about this, but nothing beats the FNCS. As you guys know, that is the best of the best, and I want to see the best of the best players make it through. And I feel like making qualifiers shorter and condensing them is only going to make it harder for good teams if they have a rough day or two, maybe some connection issues, maybe one of them gets sick, and then they don't make the grand finals. But again, let me know what you guys think. Do you like a super short FNCS? Do you think it being shorter makes it more exciting, or would you want it spaced out a little bit more like we've had for seasons upon seasons before this? Alright guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.